Welcome to my channel. This is a reading for Cancer for the month of April 2020. I'll just quickly, for those that are new to my channel, I'll just give you a quick rundown of the layout. I do both the career and finance aspect, which will be in the cards below here, and then, and I know you can't see all of them here, but I do actually have a few others pulled at the bottom here, and I've got a few more toward the side, which is another deck. I'll get into the decks here in just a second. The cards at the very back, as well as the ones central and again just on the outset here, those cards are actually more to do with the general energies, not specific to career and finance, although it may overlap. But those are again general energies for the month of April 2020 for Cancer. And then again, as I said, the rest of the reading is basically just following in line with career and finance. So because I tend to really elongate things, I'll try to get moving on this. So just in a quick synopsis, most of the reading, just some of the layout of the cards and the energies that I was picking up, it feels like you're in some kind of a healing mode, Cancer, and I don't know what you'd be healing from it, but it looks like it might relate to some kind of emotional situation, really relating to a relationship is what my guess is here, although there are some definite really strong cards that speak to good financial progress here, but again, there's definitely a really heavy laden overtone of some boredom and feeling a little stymied at this time, which is probably true for a lot of us. I mean, if we're all under quarantine for long enough, you know, you tend to run out of things to occupy yourself with. So anyway, so I mean, that could very well be true just given the circumstances, or it could be just that you were also, I actually, in your case, I actually feel that this was happening before this month of April. I think that there was some kind of issues that were relating to just general dissatisfaction overall with something in your life. And it's just being carried over into the month of April. Although, on a good note, the month of April shows signs that you're starting to heal from those burdens. I don't see any complete healing, but I do feel that you are 3/4 of the way in to overcoming whatever it is you've been struggling with. I mean, there's cards over here regarding feelings, wounded warrior. I know you can't see it, and I'll pull the cards forward on the other side here, but with another deck that I have, which is actually the Witch's Tarot, that one actually relates to some heartache and, again, some emptiness and self-sabotage and those kinds of things. You do actually have some cards here, you know, that are central, that are speaking to, you know, you being in a healing period and requiring healing energies from certain angels, that would be their gift to you, is to try to heal you during this month. So anyway, I'll just get right into it. I just wanted to give you a general synopsis that things are looking pretty good as far as money. I mean, there's progress being made anyway. So whatever's happening in the world, for you, more specifically, you are able to manage things, but I do feel you are feeling some overwhelm. You've got some cards over here, which again, you know, you can't see everything here, but you do have some cards of overwhelm, which is the tens, this kind of thing. So again, even though you're managing quite well, you are feeling some overwhelm. You do have some emotional areas that are still very present during the month of April, but you are healing. So at least 3/4 of the way healing throughout this month, I would say. Okay, so right into the reading. I'll start with the decks that I'm using. So I do have the Witch's Tarot, and again, I know you can't see all of the cards for that, but I'm just going to pull a random card. This is not actually a part of your reading, but this is the Witch's Tarot here, and I'm just pulling a card just to show you that it's actually quite a nice deck. I really like this deck. I don't know why I don't use it more often, but anyway, that is the deck I'm using, which is the Witch's Tarot. And then we also have the Rider-Waite deck, which is my main deck that I use. I really like that one as well. And I'm also using the Impressionist Tarot. That's one of the newer ones I'm sort of throwing in here. Had them for a while, but don't always use them, just to make it a little more interesting. So the Impressionist Tarot I really like because it actually speaks to more creative and inspiring types of energy come from those cards for me. And I find that they're quite poetic. And I find that really appeals to me. We also have the Angel Therapy deck, which again, we've got Angel Therapy as well as these are all cards from Doreen Virtue. And I also have the Goddess Guidance cards here. So again, these are all sort of falling in line here. And then I'm using at the very back the Fortune deck, and that's by Sharina Starr, and the Archangel Power deck as well, which is, where did I put that one? Oh, sorry, at the very back there. And that is, again, Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine. So anyway, just going to get right into it. I'll start with the Fortune cards. And also, just as a quick side note here, even though you're doing some heavy, bit of a balancing act, but you, again, doing some heavy healing, I just want you to know that the beginning of the reading is actually very, very optimistic. And that was with regards to career and finance. It's about a happy surprise coming. So anyway, moving on. We'll start with the fortune reading cards. These are, again, just general energy cards that relate to the reading. You do actually have a lot of major arcana cards in here as well, which speak to, I know you can't see all of them, but there's the Temperance card. You've got the Magician card down here. You've also got, the Ace of Pentacles here. You've got the Sun card. You've got another Victory card here with the Chariot. These are all major arcana cards, which means that they're really significant events that are taking place throughout the month of April. So it just seems like there's a lot going on for you in the month of April that's quite heavy. Maybe a lot to do with your internal world more so than anything, but again, you do have some really significant changes taking place. Okay, starting with the Luck card. At the very back here, the Luck card says, "You are right to be strong and optimistic about the opportunities ahead." So, as it says, the card is about your fate is changing, and it's because of the decisions that you've made. So when we make consecutive poor decisions on a repeated basis, eventually that accumulation leads to a poor quality outcome, and something that usually impacts us in a negative way. But you, on the other hand, are making some really strong, viable choices that are leading to really putting you out onto a new course anyway. So you've got a lot of changes that are coming ahead for you in this year. So it starts in April. But it's just a time where you're actually luckier than you have been for some time. So, whatever that speaks to, I guess as we go through the reading, we'll flesh it out. But there's an opportunity to completely reverse your fortunes, is what it speaks to in terms of personal relationships and finances. So it's not any one thing. The card is telling you not to be, pessimistic, because this card is really representative of stability and strength, and it surrounds the changes that are taking place in the month of April. So the key is to have faith and be optimistic. So in terms of, personal relationships, I do feel a lot of personal relationships, whether it's business or friendships or family or, love relationships, that kind of thing, always seem to overlap with money readings. And certainly we are social creatures, so there's always going to be some interplay here that relates to that on the average. There's not too many people I know that, are sufficiently making things on their own without any kind of connections to other people. So, everything takes some degree of teamwork or, knowledge, networking, that kind of thing to be able to build something. So anyway, back to the card of luck and personal relationships. So, it's basically telling you that luck is all around you, and that, that basically in terms of personal relationships, things are going to seem like they're moving away from those troublesome issues. So things somehow are being settled for you in some way with regards to relationships. I don't know if that's just you releasing something, and accepting something. I say that only because I also felt toward the The other cards that were from the Witch's Tarot, it also spoke to something along that line. So I don't know, again, if it's you letting go of something or if you're just accepting something and moving on. But just remember, if something has been released from your life in terms of a relationship, there's generally a reason why, that will be beneficial to you, that will show down the road, you know, to have benefited you versus, you know, versus having impeded you in some way. But any kind of change is always very difficult, and for sure support counts during those times. So in terms of luck and money, with the luck card here, as I said, the luck card actually speaks to opportunities for strong, growth, career growth. So, money wins are things that might relate around lotto, games of chance, although I wouldn't be throwing a lot of that out there right now with the way things are in the world. It's one thing to buy a dollar lotto ticket. It's another thing to go out and buy, $200 worth of lotto tickets and hoping for some, complete change of events. So I would just still be really cautious with that. That's just my own personal viewpoint on that. I mean, there's nothing specific to the cards, but again, given what's happening in the world, it's still a time just to be aware of your surroundings, not to put blind faith into things. So anyway, but you do have some extra luck, meaning you might have some extra resources. Something else might be, coming to you during this difficult time that you didn't otherwise think you had some hand in. But it is about you showing up at the right place at the right time, whether it's a job opportunity or something that's manifesting here, or that you're finding new ways to make money, whether it's online, but it's, anyway, something along that line. You just seem to have a little bit extra clarity, a little more intuitiveness on where to go, and you just show up just as something is about to open up for you. And again, you've got flowers following that, which is sort of that same idea of budding and moving into that place of success. So the flowers card says, be generous, success and emotional fulfillment are yours. So again, that card actually speaks to just that. It's about abundance and being grateful for what you have. As much as it would be great to spend that time outdoors and going to a park, a lot of places are not open for business on that front. So, maybe bring the nature into you. I mean, I know there's some snow on the ground where I am, but I would say, whatever you can do to bring a little nature or a little of that sunshine into your overall surroundings. So maybe it is, you bringing in some plants, or, just taking a little bit of, I also say that too, because there were some other cards further down in your reading that also spoke to that as well, about you, starting to exercise or put some energy into things that help to build you stronger again, because whatever it is with this healing, you're coming out of something. So you're getting some more momentum back, some motivation. And again, it did speak to, surrounding yourself with things with nature and getting your hands into nature, and whether that's planting or something along that line, but something that relates to even the fresh air. Maybe you can just do a quick drive somewhere and, and not head too far into any social ground there, but at least just to give yourself a little bit of sunshine, or take a short walk, with the distance in mind between people. Okay, anyway, back to what flowers represents. So flowers, again, are about beauty and appearances, and again, that speaks to, you taking that extra time to present yourself well. So again, doing some exercise, cleaning yourself up, take a shower, maybe wear cologne today, or perfume, whatever it takes, just to kind of put you into a better headspace. Something that just makes you feel a little better, a little prettier, a little more handsome, whatever it takes. Just do that little bit of extra for yourself. Even if you are sitting around at home, doesn't mean you need to be in, full sweatpants and, hair and curlers or whatever it is. Sometimes just getting out of bed and taking the shower and still getting ready for the day makes all the difference. So in terms of personal relationships, flowers, tokens, sympathy, recognition, those kinds of things sort of surround the idea of flowers, but it's really about, flowers bring warmth and understanding and cheer. So again, that was getting back to nature. And just to be generous and sharing some joy, create a little bit of laughter around the house, or, whatever your surroundings are, just to lift the overall spirits and the energy in the room. Because you do have that capability. You do have some real strong leadership qualities here, Cancer. And, a lot of your energy and your presence in a space can make the difference as to how the rest of a room operates. So just be aware of that power within you, because it does make a difference, especially during trying times. So, I mean, again, it could also represent some kind of social activity. I suspect it would be more of an online social activity or phone calls, whatever, but that's just in relation to relationships and socializing, whatever. But in terms of career as well as money, it does, again, speaks to new projects starting. Whatever it is you're setting your mind on in terms of a goal or a dream, is telling you that it's possible now. Again, things don't they start to manifest, and then they're carried out throughout the months of the year, because it's a layering effect. So you definitely, in the month of April, are starting to really come to terms with your goals and your dreams, and you're now looking for jobs or information or things that are now, you're drawing that to you, so that you can make that money. And again, with the luck card, you're drawing it to you at the right times. So when you're getting some kind of synchronicity or something repeatedly saying, go check out that book or that author, or check out something online, go with that nudging, because it's generally indicating it's something that could benefit you. So as far as, again, the card as well still speaks to being upbeat and enthusiastic, because it makes you more attractive. And when you're more attractive on that front, it's just a great way to network and, do amazing, brilliant, work. It's creating a certain kind of business savvy. So again, those positive thoughts and actions are going to be rewarded if you, again, I know you're still in a healing mode, but if you can start to shake some of that heavy energy that you're going through, you're going to see, which I suspect that you will. I mean, this is just general energies for the month of April, so it'll probably be toward the end of April itself, before that happens. But either way, it's going to work to your advantage the faster you shake it. So the angel card is your angels are guiding and protecting you, and you're on this spiritual journey. And of course, I think for many of us, we are getting a lot of help from whatever spirit means to you, whether it's God or a religious connotation, or, just an energy, whatever that presence is for you. But it is letting you know that you are blessed with that deep connection to that spirit, whether it's your ancestors looking out for you, that kind of thing. You need to pay attention to your dreams, and I suspect that a lot of Cancers do get dreams. But to follow, again, your gut feelings, when you feel that you're guided somewhere, you need to follow that inkling anyway. But also, asking for some of that assistance, because it helps the spirit to guide you in the places that you feel you are having some struggle with. So, in terms of, it doesn't really, like, the card itself, I mean, it speaks to things in sort of a general way. Again, it was more about asking for what it is you need to have some intervention with, whether it is that you want some clarity in how to deal with a relationship, or whether it's, how do I go about starting a new project, that kind of thing. Again, you have to have a fairly clear picture in your mind's eye about what it is that you want to manifest. And again, I say manifest because toward the end of the reading, you also have the Magician card, and you have it more than once, just so you know. The Magician card is here toward the end as sort of a outcome advice card, but you also have it here in the Impressionist, tarot. That's also the sign for the Magician, which the Magician has kind of a broader meaning, but again, it's still being able to manifest things. So again, in terms of career and finance, you want to find a way to bring out your hidden talents and artistic, creative sparks, that kind of thing. So that's when you want to say to your spirit or your guide or your ancestors, please help me to bring out those qualities in myself. what is the best way to get it on the table? What's the best way forward to present myself in whatever the situation might be? So anyway, that's the 3 cards at the back, luck, flowers, and angel. And then I will move on to the Archangel Power cards. So that is the King of Ariel, the King of Gabriel, and the Knight of Raphael. And I will mention those 3 cards also speak to a lot of people in your reading. So it's not just there that I see it, but again, I did use the Witch's Tarot along the side, which I know isn't completely visible. I'll just sort of shift it over a little bit there for you to see. But those cards also, replicate a lot of this reading. So I noticed, though there's a little bit more on the emotional front with those ones. But again, you've got a lot of people in this reading that seem to be influencing whatever you're going through. So I mean, that's what makes me think that it has something to do with a lot of relationships that you are maybe struggling with at this time. So, and I don't see the Hermit card, but I suspect that you have probably pulled back a little bit here, not just because of the quarantine situation, but I suspect probably over a month or two, just because when somebody's in deep healing, it usually stands to reason that they're pulling back or using something as a distraction to pull them away from those deeper emotions that are heavier and more difficult to deal with. So anyway, on to King of Ariel, which is again the Archangel Power cards. So the King of Ariel is really about abundance. So that's the pink card there. And it's about letting you know you've got a lot of abundance. So again, whether abundance means to you happy family or friends or, feeling that you've got, a lot of love from your animals or whatever it is, it could be just on the smallest basis, a lot of food to eat, you're not really needing for anything, which I think is a very big thing, going forward with what we're dealing with, again, with a lot of the issues happening in the world. And again, it's just a time for the world to, letting everybody know you need to slow down. You need to try to find, sometimes we get caught up in that rat race and we forget to appreciate those things. So again, it's about things are working out well. It's about you being able to manage your finances and that you have a keen sense of what to do to succeed. So it's also about advancement in a career. So again, it's about, you're taking a break right at this time, obviously, again, for many people because a lot of businesses have shut down, but that you're able to, enjoy life, enjoy that leisure time. And again, because you're going through some healing, I suspect it's not happening right away, but you will find some moments as the more you go through the month of April, the more that you heal, the more you're going to find that you actually are enjoying your time off. If in fact this relates more to a person, because that's related to the situation itself, but if it's relating to more of a person coming through in the reading, this is a very successful person. It's somebody who's already at the top professionally, business person, somebody who can direct many people, could speak to yourself or someone around you. It's somebody who loves nature as well and stable, powerful, accomplished, that kind of thing. And it's also about someone who uses resources wisely. So given, that right now we all need to be, very frugal to be able to weather this period, even though despite that it does say, yes, you are moving toward career success, but it is about using the resources wisely until you get the money in the bank, and using your leadership qualities to be able to direct things, in your favor. And also just to be aware of what's important to you, and if it's people that are important to you, you want to make sure that everybody's looked after. It doesn't mean overextending yourself and sacrificing, but it does mean take a look at the most important things, food, shelter, heat, that kind of thing, and make sure that's looked after. And it's up to everybody else to pull their weight and entertain themselves. So anyway, King of Gabriel is the next card. And again, in terms of a situation, it does represent the big picture. So there's still a lot to be done at this stage, but it's letting you know that, once you've got this grand vision clear enough in your mind, then you head out. You got to have some details about how to go about it, to make it a successful venture. But again, you're letting your enthusiasm and your charm shine through. So this is about that creativity, which is the key to that success in that endeavor that that's your dream or your goal or your career aspiration. In terms of people, the King of Gabriel stands more for somebody who's magnetic and, again, really determined mindset, somebody's leader qualities. And again, these are really strong people that are coming through here with the King of Ariel and the King of Gabriel. It's someone with a broad vision, somebody who has that ability to motivate people, somebody who's inspirational, dramatic, enthusiastic. So again, it feels like it's more of a Wands energy here, really. But again, these are really strong energies coming through as a person. So again, could be you or somebody around you, but it's, also speaking to somebody who has concern, genuine concern for, a lot of people. So as the card says, generous, inspirational, dramatic kind of person. But as a side note, it does speak to unexpected money coming through. And I say that because the beginning of your career and finance part of the reading with the Rider-Waite deck does also speak to an unexpected surprise. So it might even be very relevant there. So the very last card is the Knight of Raphael. And again, that one speaks to, in terms of a situation, about being prepared and to be prepared to be swept off your feet. So I think something is coming through here as far as a relationship. So whether you're meeting somebody online or whether you've already met this person and there's some kind of, healing that's taken place there, someone has the ability to get deep into your emotions and, bring out that side of you that has been quite buried, and it's now being able to come to the surface. So sometime in the month of April, it does, I don't want to say it represents falling in love exactly, but it does feel as though you are meeting somebody that is making you feel that you can reveal your emotions. I feel that a lot of times cancers, even though they're a very emotional sign, and it may manifest in little short bites of, anger or in like little bits and pieces of short bursts of the emotion, I feel that the deeper emotions are very, very well buried below the surface. And so a lot of times the emotions that people are seeing are not they're more reactionary versus the real quality of the emotion that you're feeling. So just to be aware of that, I feel that somebody is coming into the month of April that's going to help you to bring those deeper feelings closer to the surface. Whether it's a friendship, a deep friendship that you have, could be even something along that line, that somebody has, I don't want to say removed themselves but somehow was distant for a time and is coming back. But something even along that line could be relevant. So again, that card is also speaking to being creative and artistic, and again, career opportunities coming through. But it's about things that are making you feel more alive again overall. So again, in terms of a person, it could be even you just falling in love with love again, or a project, falling in love with a project. It could be you just, being a lot more optimistic and just a lot more powerful emotions that are coming through. But just to remember, with the Knights, it is about news coming through. It's about motion and activity. But it's also, you need to make sure that you don't put on the rose-colored glasses and get too far into an illusion. You still want to remain grounded. So even though powerful emotions feel great when they come to the surface, especially when it relates to love, just remember to, rein it in a little bit, because sometimes when we're in love with love, you tend not to see the patterns that everybody's on their best behavior, and sometimes we miss the patterns of behavior that might not be congruent with our values and our belief systems, because we're so in love with the idea of what's happening and how it feels. So anyway, moving on past that, into the next card, which is, I think I'll do the Sacred Awakening deck. That one is actually Sarah Esther Felix, and that was the cards in the corner here. So again, that's feelings and the Wounded Warrior. And again, like lots of feelings in this reading. So again, with the Wounded Warrior, well, actually I'll start with the card feelings itself. feelings again, just in terms of what the book does sort of outline here, it does let you know that you're plunging into some really deep feelings, and that you do have that tendency to shut down. When you shut down, it deadens that flow of life, so you don't actually get a chance to honor your feelings, and to become more intuitive, because your feelings are part of your intuition as well. So not only is it about your passion and your sensuality and all of those things, but it's love. It is love for self, love for spirit, love for your world, love for the part of that abundance, love for people. It's the thing that connects you. So it's that pulse of life, and sometimes when we go through a lot of powerful feelings, there's a lot of fear around that, because it does and it can overtake a lot of our day when we remain in that feeling of losing control, not being able to guide it, not being able to apply it specifically to something, because love is expansive, deep feelings are expansive, so it can be a little bit frightening. So again, it is a card that's letting you know that it's okay to feel those feelings, because they make us feel alive, and it lets us know that we existed, right? So take that opportunity to go deep into your feelings, and feel the depth of awareness, because that's true living, but also know when to rein it back and stay on task, and go forward with your goals. But it's also about finding the balance, I think, as it is for most of us at any time, the balance between love and money and those kinds of things. Most people tend to feel that one is separate from the other, but again, they really do overlap. So just make sure things are congruent with your values and your belief systems on both fronts, with love and money. So with the Wounded Warrior, again, it spoke to, somebody who felt that they were quite heroic, and things were, might have been going great at one point, but somehow you fell victim, and you fell victim to something that maybe it was a betrayal or something along that line, but you've got guards up, you've got some shields up, and there's also other cards in the reading that speak to that as well. As I mentioned before, you've got like the Ten of Wands, feeling overburdened here. You also have, toward the end of the reading, you've got, the Nine of Wands, which is about being defensiveness, feeling that defensiveness, victimized, that kind of thing. You also have the Eight of Swords here, about self-sabotage. But again, there's some positive aspects to both of those cards as well. Nines are also about action. Eights are also about overcoming difficulties. So, never see things as, wholly bad or supremely good, because they come as a package, but again, one might overshadow the other depending on how you handle it. So anyway, moving on with the Wounded Warrior, that's just about, forces wearing you down. Things with that card, you had shields up, you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, and it's just about letting you know that you've already thought about all your worst case scenarios. You've already brought up the pain. You've thought about all the things that were hurtful from the past. You felt the guilt. And now it's telling you that you can trust again. It's an opportunity to begin life in a new way. Drop that protective shield, because a lot of what you're doing is just struggling against yourself. I'm just looking for the Five of Wands on that one, but strangely, I don't see it in there, because that's usually kind of battling yourself there. But again, that card does speak to, just letting yourself unshackle from all those old, heavy, negative energies that, are chaining you. So again, it's also speaking to kind of you shifting your consciousness, and that you're trying to find some kind of resolution for sure. It's not that you're blocking everything entirely. You are actually seeking some kind of resolution here, because again, lots of cards of healing. So moving on to the next cards, I'll go into Pele, or however that's pronounced, and Irene. So again, this card is the Goddess Guidance Oracle cards, and I'll start with Pele, or however again it's pronounced. That's about divine passion. So it's about being honest with yourself. What's your heart's true desire? You need to listen to that. You need to listen to the sound of your heart and your breath, and especially with breath, because breath is a great clearing of many of your chakras. And even for men, a lot of times, sometimes just listening to the sound of drums or playing bongo drums or something, on in kind of a meditative way. Some people do it in more of a healing circle, that kind of thing. And meditation, of course, falls along that same line. It just helps you to become a little more closer to your creator, closer to the rhythms of, the earth. And it's natural, and it's a part of, our ancestry. So it's not something that you want to ignore, because it is allowing you to be free of, you being overly concerned with things, whether that's pleasing others or, whatever it might be. But when you're able to hear the sounds of your own drum or hear the sounds of your own breath, you become a little more connected to yourself, and you're at one. So it's about embracing your dreams, this card, and it's also about you being a part of nature, appreciating the sunset. Look outside, smell the fresh air, whether it's snow or warmth, whatever it is, wherever you are, just sometimes watching animals and seeing how the trees move, slowing yourself down enough so that you can actually feel connected again. But it also speaks to, sometimes we overshadow a lot of our true desires with all of those difficulties, and we spend so much more time on resolving the difficulty that we don't actually resolve our dreams. So we're not really giving any homage or any respect to the things that activate us, the things that give us that feeling of passion and that motivation to move forward. So again, it speaks to you needing to address some of that, about being clear on what it is that you want in terms of your dreams, and don't be afraid of that passion, whatever, again, that dream is for you, because it helps to naturally excite you and invigorate you, which in turn creates an action. And action is that momentum that you need to get things done, to live in this world. It's knowing how to dance in the rhythm of life, so to speak, and so that you are alive. Sometimes when you think back to the things that you did as a child, whether you were singing in a room or whether you were dancing, or, those are the things that kind of bring you back to yourself in a more innocent time, but also they were really true parts of yourself, that help to activate or reactivate things that you actually thought you'd outgrown. But there's something to it. There's something to those parts of our childhood that help to energize us in our future. So anyway, making sure, basically that your career matches your true interests is what the card speaks to. So again, you can, if you're a little unclear on some of that, especially because people have to reinvent themselves while staying at home, maybe you want to redefine yourself with taking a class online or a hobby. There's a lot of free classes that they offer as well online, like Harvard free classes, positive psychology, all kinds of things. Those might be something that would be of interest to you. But there's a lot of the bigger universities that offer free courses that are just on a YouTube basis, and of course YouTube in itself, right? But anyway, anything that just helps to keep you excited and kind of sets you on a new course again. And it can even speak to changing jobs, which would make some sense if a lot of people are being laid off at this time. You're having to reinvent yourself. But it's also about investing that time in your dreams, manifesting your dreams. So it's actually giving yourself the permission to take the time to work it out, make a plan, and, start that new business, or start that, because that's what the card represents, is to start that new business, that new idea. Make an honest assessment of where you are in your life right now, and the things that you want, and what are your priorities, and then base it all around your beliefs and your value system to move forward. Okay, so the next card is Irene, and that card is about peace. So this card, it says that there is no need to worry, as everything is working out beautifully. So, as much as you seem to be worrying and healing and that kind of thing throughout the month of April, you really need to just step back and realize that even though things appear to be chaotic and you feel like you've got all these pressures, you actually have a higher plan that's in action here. So, there is something that you're able to carry off, you know, because you're supported by the divine number one. And when I say supported, I mean you can put a request out to Spirit or God or again, whatever that energy is to you that has meaning, or your ancestors, that kind of thing. You can put a request out there, and the information that comes to you when you're in a still place can be of value because it usually will guide you in the best way given a certain set of obstacles and challenges. It will help you find your way through it. Doesn't mean it's going to be an easy challenge. You might have to do the research. You might have to sit on the call for 2.5 hours to get a mortgage deferral or whatever it is for you. And sometimes when you make one call, that they might just outright say no. Again, if you're searching for assistance, which I know a lot of people are. But believe it or not, there's a lot of 1-800 numbers that they don't tell you about. So sometimes you got to do some digging, people. Just letting you know to be able to find the resources that you need. Never stop at one phone number. Networking is really important online for that kind of thing when you really need assistance. So again, just as far as that card with peace, it's just about putting your focus into enjoying and appreciating, what you have. It's having that gratitude because it helps you to attract even more blessings into your life. So it's about giving up your cares and your worries because you are being divinely led. Trust the process and try to take a few minutes out that are not filled with worry and allow yourself to do some peace enhancing activities, whether it's, bath, massage, music, laughter, yoga, whatever it is to you. Some people just need, it's exercise, especially if you're having to sit around quite a bit. I know that on Facebook there's a lot of people looking for exercise equipment just because everything's closed. So again, take advantage of this time off, people. This is, as much as it's a hardship on one level, what part of life isn't? Okay, anyway, moving on to the angel therapy cards. So that's the ear chakra as well as the Archangel Raphael. So again, those cards, I'll start with the ear chakra. So that card is really telling you that, again, the angels are supporting you, and it's the healing angel specifically. So it's letting you know that the supreme healer, Raphael, is guiding you about ideas on how to heal yourself. So, whether you're drinking and smoking and that kind of thing and you're racked with worry, it's letting you know, here's an alternative. And if you get that nagging feeling again, to get up and just do, 25 sit-ups, it's a clue. It's, the universe is synchronizing and lining things up for you to take advantage of this time. So again, it's just eliminating any unhealthy things for you. Despite whatever else is going on around you, you always need to look after you first. So increase your motivation to exercise. And if you feel called to help others, or get other people involved, maybe 2 or 3 of you can be doing exercise, at one time online or however it works, or just with those in the household. Just use a little enthusiasm and a little creativity to get everybody involved. So as far as, again, the rest of the ear chakra card goes, it is about, just, again, Raphael is helping to guide your actions, and it also speaks to directing you to schooling for healing work. So I don't know if there are others of you that are involved in healing arts and that kind of thing, maybe massage therapy or Reiki or whatever it is there, but it does speak to something along that line anyway. Sorry, Archangel Raphael. I don't know why I kept pointing to the ear chakra card. But now we'll do the ear chakra card. Okay, so that's about messages that are coming through as sounds and music and words, anything that's patterns, anything that's repeating, maybe numbers. Some people, I actually do check that out a few times. Sometimes I'll see a number that kind of appeals to me, like 322 or, 1444 or whatever it is, and I'll look it up as a spiritual meaning. So again, and it usually it's something that's kind of in line with whatever's happening right at the moment for me, or just shortly shy of that. So again, just something just to be aware of. But again, it's repeating patterns, or repeated music, or something coming through that the angels are trying to, or again, spirit is trying to convey to you. So they're trying to synchronize, line things up. So it's about providing you with information and instructions so that you can take the appropriate actions. It's about those repetitive, again, voices or overheard conversations where people out of the blue just appear with reassuring words, or a friend says exactly what you need to hear right at that moment, or a movie all of a sudden, makes sense, and you're like, hey, that parallels my world right now, that kind of thing. So it's about remembering, when it's an angel or a spirit message that's coming through for you, it's going to always be loving and positive and trustworthy and constructive. It's not going to be anything that is negative and along that line. So just to be aware of that. Okay. I know this is getting a little long and I better speed it up. So I will go right into the last 3 cards. Again, this is my favorite, one of my favorite decks too. Again, it's the Impressionist Tarot. I had it buried for a while, so I didn't bring it out sooner. But anyway, just because it's really inspiring, I love the way that they caption the phrases. So the Magician, again, is this card here. And again, you've got it down here in the rest of the reading as well. You've got Magician here. So again, it's the great manifester. Anything that deals with the Magician means this person, meaning yourself, Cancer, you have the ability to create exactly what you want. So as far as the Impressionist Tarot quotes go, I want to read those, and because I do find, again, they're really inspiring. So it says, "It is so small a thing, the life of a man, and yet there is time to do great things. Fragments of a common task." And that is written by Paul, I'm going to mispronounce this, but Gauguin, I believe. But anyway, again, I'll repeat that. It is so small a thing, the life of a man, and yet there is no time to do great things. Fragments of a common task. So just, this is, again, that's the Magician card, and that was Paul Gauguin from 1902. And he was actually a stockbroker who left his wealthy family in France for art, for the sake of his modern art. And again, he was a bit of a scoundrel. I guess he did abandon his wife and 5 children, and he set sail for Tahiti. And it says that he was in search of an island paradise, and, just because he felt that he was overly stressed and taxed. And I believe he was also a bit of an alcoholic. He did drink quite a bit, and he also had an addiction to morphine. And he was dying of syphilis. So again, sometimes being a little too carefree has a bit of a, has a bit of a price attached to it. But again, he did have some. It didn't take away the fact that he was a talented artist with some inspiring things to say. So again, this card of the Magician has a few connotations, but with this particular deck, it says that the Magician is based on Gauguin's portrait of a Mabou man. So this is a Mabou man apparently is somebody who held a special place in society. So Mabou men were biologically male, but they dressed as women, and they did women's work, and they served as goddesses in temples, and they were off limits to women, and they were taught hula dance and chant. So while some had wives and children, Mabou men were treated like a unique third gender with the virtues of both sexes. So again, you could even reference that as that yin-yang sense of male and female counterpart energy, and finding the balance. Because we really need to be able to identify both of those qualities so that we can connect more wholly with one another. But as far as the card itself, it does represent Mercury, which is the messenger of the gods, and it's the planets of speed and communication. So the Magician is really the mythic trickster. So it's someone who's a master of time and space. He can appear, he can disappear, in the blink of an eye, and he can change his form. And he can convince you that truth is merely relative. So as it corresponds to Mercury, the messenger god is also known as Hermes. So a lot of these, Greek mythology stories, reference a lot of things throughout history with the tarot. And many other things as well, but because we're just dealing with the tarot for the moment, that's that's the reference I'm making. So it says the first hermaphrodite, he was born from Hermes' love affair with Aphrodite, and Mercury rules Gemini. So the dual sign of, sorry, got to stop my cat from making a move. On to the cards. Okay, so back to, sorry, the first hermaphrodite was born from Hermes' love affair with Aphrodite, and Mercury's rules Gemini. It's the dual sign of curiosity and versatility, as well as Virgo. So, which Virgo is the sign of duty and responsibility, and Mercury also rules the third house of communication and the sixth house of service to others. So, whenever the magician appears, it's basically saying that the atmosphere is electric. So, this is a time when you say to yourself, what magic do I want to create? What dreams do I want to make manifest? You know, it's about you having the power to transform the world through your own determination. You know, you could even create a new reality altogether. So whatever you were previously, you know, seeing yourself as, you can completely transcend that, because you now, with the magician, you actually have the talent, you have the skill, you have the willpower, the direction, the flow, the control to make all of that happen. So it's a really powerful card to have the magician. And again, you have it more than once. The magician is also a major arcana card. So again, for sure, April is a month you need to be, you know, a mover and shaker. So the next card is actually the Four of Swords. So the Four of Swords is really about, it's Vincent van Gogh with that painting. And it's the quote that goes with the Four of Swords is, "I often think that the night is more alive and more richly colored than the day." So Vincent van Gogh, of course, had some mental health issues, but again, it doesn't stop the fact that, you know, despite having any kind of issues, we all have something to deal with for sure. It's a matter of degree and how much how much time and attention you give to one area of your life versus another. You know, these are still people that were able to create and expand and manifest and, you know, not block up so much in the mind that they weren't able to put something out that was great to the world. So again, don't feel because if you are in a position where you have to deal with a challenge that you have nothing to contribute, because that's not true. We're all here with gifts. So anyway, as far as Vincent van Gogh, that image in itself here speaks to, it's a dark night. Actually, maybe I'll pull it closer just because I think it is. So the card actually speaks to, it's a dark night on a cobblestone street, and a small group of friends have gathered at a sidewalk cafe. We're not a part of the fun, at least not yet. Instead, we watch them from a distance. While a soft breeze carries their voices and laughter through the air, the sky is filled with twinkling stars down the boulevard. Windows are brightly lit, hinting at life and merriment inside the walls. The Four of Swords are hung high above the cafe, mounted like ornamental trim. They represent the ever-present worries and concerns of the world. But right now, while we're up in the air, we can ignore them. That's why I brought that card close, because I think it is really significant to what's happening right now. So Vincent van Gogh, that is his painting of the Cafe Terrace in 1888. And he was enthusiastic about that particular painting because he described it in a letter to his sister. And he says, "In point of fact, I was interrupted these days by my toiling on a new picture representing the outside of a night cafe." And then he talks about on the terrace there's tiny figures of people drinking and the enormous yellow lantern sheds that were lit on the terrace and the house and the sidewalk, and, you know, a certain brightness and pavement on the street, and the pinkish violet tones and different colors that he noticed. So it says, here you have a night picture without any black in it. And it's done with nothing but beautiful blue and violet and green. And in these surroundings, the lighted square acquires a pale sulfur and greenish citron yellow color. So the reason why I brought that up is because he's painted the night on the spot without any real darkness. So something that you might want to ponder in terms of how we are, where we are in society today and the things that we're dealing with. But it is representative of Jupiter and Libra is a sign of soirees and social events, that kind of thing. But it's also a card of being outgoing and optimistic. So, bringing your friends along can mean any number of things. You can sit by yourself at a cafe and just watching people, and that can be amusement enough. You don't always have to be engaging on that level. But there's all kinds of meetup groups, even on, that have shared interest groups on books or whatever it is, that you can find online. You don't always need to be, connecting on a physical level, especially right now. But anyway, but the Four of Swords basically offers you a break from the demands and pressures of the outside world, which is exactly where we're all at. It's especially true when that respite comes with social support. So, close friends are truly life's treasures, Van Gogh said. Sometimes they know us better than we know ourselves. With gentle honesty, they are there to guide and support us, to share our laughter and our tears. Their presence reminds us that we are never really alone. So again, the Four of Swords is about rest, relaxation, respite, and leisure. So the last card is the Nine of Swords, and I'll just bring that one forward too, because again, these ones are artistic cards, so although I do like a lot of the drawings on the other ones as well, but these are great painters. So that's the Nine of Swords. Again, nines are about action, and you have several in your reading here too, so it's about taking action. So again, with the Nine of Swords, it's Vincent van Gogh, and it says, I dream my paintings, then I paint my dreams. I like that. I dream my paintings, then I paint my dreams. So the card represents a young woman who's fast asleep. She's flat on her back. She's in a bed with comforters, with paintings of her friends and family displayed around her so that she can see them when she wakes up. And it looks like it's a peaceful scene, except there's the arsenal of all the swords above, the weaponry that's hanging over her head. So the swords are there for her protection, but if she sleeps too soundly, they could also be used against her. So the idea is that this is Vincent van Gogh's bedroom in 1889, and he painted 3 versions of the Aries bedroom while he was in the asylum. He was lonely, he was homesick, and he was thinking of happier days, and he described the images for his brother. This time, it's simply my bedroom, but the color has to do the job here, he wrote. And through it being simplified, by giving a grander style to things, to be suggestive here of rest or of sleep in general. In short, looking at the paintings should rest the mind, or rather the imagination. And he listed the colors in the room, and he said the solidity of the furniture should also now express unshakable repose. This is to take my revenge for the enforced rest that I was obliged to take. So, again, this card is really about, he doesn't tone down the aggression when he travels through. It is also speaking to Gemini, where he's bringing that arsenal along. He doesn't play war games, he plays mind games. And I think that's a good part of what Cancer often does, at least in the month of April here anyway, that there's a lot of mind games that you are playing with yourself. So historically, the Nine of Swords refers to clergymen, monks, temples, churches, cloister, and convents, but it's fair to say that Van Gogh lived more like a monk than he would have wished, sleeping alone in a single bed and longing for companionship and, connection. So the Nine of Swords represents long-filled nights with darkness and dread. And if you can't sleep, you get up, you turn on the lights, and you occupy your mind with something other than fear. So again, there's a lot of healing here, but again, this is some of the things that you're trying to heal from, Cancer, which is the nightmares, the insomnia, the panic, or the stress. And again, it's a self-imposed kind of a situation because, again, you had the Eight of Swords further down and a few other cards of anxiety and defense. Okay, so moving on, before I just get right into the career and finance aspect of it, I just want to quickly mention, I'm going to go through the cards over here that relate to the Witch's Tarot, because there is some parallels there in the reading. But again, this was more of the emotional aspects I found with that part of the reading. And again, because there was so much healing, I feel that it needs to be spoken to. So the Lover's card is, it was the first card out. And that one actually speaks to relationships and choice. And again, it's about the power of love, desire, destiny, romance, things that that you can overcome as lovers when you're together. It is, it speaks to that beauty and decisions and commitment, but it also speaks to choices having to be made. So it also references a Gemini. So it's not a reversed card, but it does speak to some kind of choice to be made, and whether it's a love relationship or a friendship that could be like a soul bond or something, somebody you're really close to, you're in some kind of process of making a decision. There's also the next card that follows that was the, I'm going to try to pull that one closer so you can see some of the cards, because they're really a beautiful deck. But again, the next card that follows that was the Knight of Wands. So with the Knight of Wands, Knights again are about news coming through, and Wands are a fiery energy as well. But the Knight of Wands is a message, and it's a fast incoming message. So, but it does speak to a victory following that, just so you know. So again, like the Knight of Wands is really something that is letting you know that you actually, it's about an action taking place here. It is about too many commitments. Sorry, I'm just trying to check here, because I know you had a Ten of Wands in there as well. But anyway, but again, with the Knight of Wands, it's, if we were talking about in reference to a person, it is somebody who's adventurous and confident and enthusiastic and passionate. Somebody who might even travel for business, can't even speak to a new job or a new house. But it's about making bold actions and embracing change and just taking on the adventure, being passionate about something. So again, it's about exciting activities and things kind of roaring into your sphere, and those bold moves. But again, following that is the Six of Wands, so it's some kind of victory in love. So I feel that there is some kind of fast, and again, it also mentioned that with the Knight of Raphael at the very end, or sorry, at the very beginning there. Right here, you had the Knight of Raphael coming through with the same, really impactful, fast-changing energy that related to something around love is what I'm getting at. There's some kind of person that's really fiery that's coming through here that's, energetic and optimistic and just something along that line. So there's some kind of love connection, or just a really strong friendship or something there that is either returning to your life or something new that's coming in altogether. But anyway, the card is basically with the Six of Swords, Six of Wands is just basically telling you just to hang in there, because you are getting a victory, you are getting an achievement, it's also a card of recognition and success and compliments and that kind of thing. And again, it can also speak to accomplishments in work. But again, because it's all coupled here with the relationship cards, I just feel that this is in regards to more of a relationship status than financial success with that combination. You also have the Nine of Pentacles, and of course that always speaks to independence and, being able to look after yourself financially, but it is also followed with the Knight of Swords. Again, another message that's coming through, and it's followed by the Ace of Swords, new opportunities, jobs, things like that coming through, but it's also with a reverse. And I don't usually read a lot of reversal cards, but that's the Three of Swords. And, normally when it's upright, it speaks to conflicts and that kind of thing, and difficulties, but it is in the reverse. So first off, I'll start with the Nine of Pentacles. And again, the Nine of Pentacles is really a card that's telling you it's about time of joy and abundance, so that kind of thing. And again, it's about independence. So, it's really about you, beautiful home, earthy, kind of practical person, somebody who likes nature, If we're referencing a person, it can also represent financial worries being over. So it's really letting you know that it's a time of creative focus and confidence and personal growth. So, not only do you have emotional success here, but you are also having healing, and you're also having, some kind of abundance that's coming towards you in April. And it seems like it's a fast moving energy. And that other card there, I believe, was the Knight of Wands. Sorry, Knight of Swords. I just want to double check again. Yeah, the Knight of Swords was coupled with the Nine of Pentacles. So, again, it's news that's coming in through communication of some sort. That, I mean, usually with the swords, it's about mind things, communication that's through the mind. It could be something that's like a written word as well, but wands are the fastest communication, but the Knight of Swords is a pretty strong indicator. You're getting something maybe even via email, something along that line. But again, with the Knight of Swords, if we're speaking to a person, again, it's situational or related to a person, but in regards to a person, it's somebody who's passionate and exciting. Usually it represents a younger person, somebody who's pretty clever, shrewd and dynamic, that kind of thing. Doesn't have a lot of fear, somebody who is kind of a take charge ideas person, stands up for themselves, rapid movement, transformational, that kind of thing. So it does represent air and fire, and it is it's a natural element, so it's associated with that energetic Gemini quality. But again, in terms of a message coming through, again, to me, it's I get the feeling that this is really about a fast incoming message that is trying to be communicated to you. And again, because it's followed by the Ace of Swords, I do feel that this is an energy of the message coming through that you're getting another victory of some sort that's related to money. So it's something or a truth that's coming out, because you also it's also followed by the Three of Swords reversed. But it's success, it's that awareness, it's determination, it's telling you to take action now. It's about, feeling really close to spirit, and it's also about having a clearer perception all around. But again, it's about taking action, and it does speak to winning battles and new beginnings, and justice, that kind of thing. But again, it does speak to knowing, being aware of that, because it did speak to perception, being aware that the truth does hurt, but it needed to come out, because in the overall scheme of things, if you fell victim to the illusion and you didn't allow yourself to see it for the way that it really was, and then decide if you want to accept it, given the parameters around it, because really you need, it's your right. It's your right to see things for the way they really are versus the way they're being presented. So, and again, with that Three of Swords reversed, I mean, that speaks to, the healing process is blocked somehow, and that you're still kind of grief-stricken, and that you're having some difficulty moving on. But my feeling is that it's letting you know that you're moving past that, because you do have the success card with the Ace of Swords. So that's what you're moving away from. And the message was, again, with the Knight of Swords, followed by the Ace of Swords in regards to the Three of Swords. So the Knight of Swords was telling you that you are moving past that period of hurt, and successfully. So the next card is the Four of Pentacles, and sometimes that can be about being a little bit miserly, control freak, that kind of thing, and then you've also got the Five of Wands. That's the card that I was looking for before, about battling yourself. And you do have the Ten of Wands in several areas of the reading. So that was the one that relates to the Witch Tarot, and then we also have, the Ten of Wands in the Rider-Waite deck. So again, it's kind of a repeated pattern with a lot of these. And as you had the Eight of Swords with the Rider-Waite deck, you also have it in the other deck as well with the Witch Tarot. So again, lots of emphasis on self-sabotage and trying to get past a lot of that stuff so that you can heal. throughout the month of April. But again, you are doing it. So, I mean, there's nothing, you have some blockages, but be mindful of it so that it's easier for you to get through. But I'd also, again, with the Five of Cups, that card really speaks to you feeling bored. You're dissatisfied. You're feeling pessimistic. You're yearning for something you can never have, whether it's a love relationship or a friendship the way it used to be or whatever it is some kind of minor disappointment, some kind of boredom, some kind of moodiness, that you're allowing yourself to sit in, and you're not wanting to move ahead. Various little bouts of this throughout April, I suspect. I don't think that it's a consistency and then all of a sudden there's an awakening. I think it feels like it's more like a on and off waffling. So just to remember, it feels awful at the moment, but but once things kind of get moving again and you start to, put your time and energy behind your dreams and your goals, you're going to start to feel more alive again. So allow those energetic emotions to come to the surface, and it's also a card warning you not to be too melodramatic, because a lot of times when we're caught up in our problems, we tend to compound them because we're spending so much time on them. And it's really just a certain level of dissatisfaction or moping around, a little moody, instead of, a wash of the whole situation. It's really just, it was a disappointment and it's time to move past it, allow it to wash over you and move on to the next thing. So it's about a bit of depression that you're sort of struggling there with. And again, with the Eight of Swords, it's all along that same line, about self-sabotage and, not being able to kind of see past your own emotional blockages. Okay, I know I've talked an awful lot and I'm moving into an hour. I just have a little extra time on my hands, so that's why I'm taking the extra time with you guys. So starting off with the career and finance reading. Again, the card starting off is the Page of Cups, and it is actually clarified by the World card. So that is a happy surprise is coming for you. And this is early April, actually. And not only is it a happy surprise, but it's also followed by the happiness card, which is the happiest card in the deck. And you also have the gift coming in from the universe with the Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles. So again, just to bring it all around, not only does the Page of Cups represent, but again, it was clarified with the Wheel of Fortune. So again, that's a happy surprise that's coming through. But you also have, all the other good qualities that go with the Page of Cups. So it is about creative beginnings. It is also about synchronicity. The universe is lining things up for you. It's also about, trusting your intuition, because it's letting you know through the month of April, it's at its strongest. It can also speak to that unexpected gift coming through about a new business, a new love affair. It can be about forgiving, either yourself or someone else. It's also a card that's letting you know that, it's always positive news that comes through with the Page of Cups. But it is about also emerging intuition and psychic abilities. So if you're interested along that front as well, you're moving in the right direction. But again, it speaks to me more about love and artistic qualities coming up here. But because I strongly feel that romantic emotions, are pretty layered in with the month of April. But again, it's about good news. It can represent someone who cares about family and nature and all of that as a person. This kind of person can be very overwhelmed by the world, but they're very family oriented, and it's somebody who takes the approach to life that I feel. So it's a very emotional person, which, cancers generally tend to be. So, but again, it's somebody who kind of wears their heart on their sleeve as a person, that kind of thing. But it's a dreamy person, somebody who's maybe even have some childlike qualities. But it's just about reaching a new level of happiness and something that might just happen, as I say, out of the blue. So that is the message of the Page of Cups. And again, it is about emotions, and it's some kind of announcement or new business or something that's starting for you. Again, it was followed up with the Sun card, which again was the happiest card of the deck, and that spoke to the same things, really about you finding happiness and pleasure and really enjoying what's coming through for you. It is a time for you to, the beginning of the month is just to be alive. It's a happy time for you to communicate, and there's more sharing, there's more inspiration. Things are coming to you, good things that are starting to come in, roll in for you. And it's also a good omen for recovery. So whether you're fighting some kind of a health issue, things are starting to turn around on all fronts, and again, it can speak to, even the career front there as well, with recognition and attention. So again, you have so much to look forward to in the month of April. April is just laden with so much of every aspect of your life being affected here. So again, following the Sun card, you also have the Ace of Pentacles. And the Ace of Pentacles, again, speaks to reward for effort and prosperity and changes. It's this one here. And again, it's about being centered and, you're getting projects going. There's new beginnings. There's success around all of this. You've got stability. And again, it still speaks to that unexpected blessing or some sort coming through. So something is coming through for the month of April, which is probably within that first week of April, that is a surprise for you. But again, the Pentacles represents things that relate around home and career, possessions, could be property, family, even with your body, with regards to your body. So there's definitely some kind of change that's coming about there. Okay, moving on, you also have the Chariot card. Chariot is also, it's a vehicle. It could speak to it's a victory card as well. It could speak to something coming in rather quickly for you. And again, especially because it's followed by the Ace of Cups, which is a, strong emotional success, opportunity is coming through for you that makes you quite happy. So the Chariot, again, is, that victory card. It's about you getting what you want. It is also speaking to, having a strong motivation for your ambitions and that determination. It can speak sometimes to a hard-won victory, although I don't really see any real negative cards that surround that would emphasize that. But it can even be about, settling debts, having some kind of money or something that's coming through that, gives you an overall good feeling. But it's about a card of moving into new territory, but also having all the knowledge that you need and the skills to solve the riddle, to solve the problem, to find a resolution for something. So, it's that determination, that self-control, that self-empowerment. It's a new beginning that you're coming into here, and you're getting what you want. And again, it is followed by the Ace of Cups, and that actually speaks to a career change. So I suspect that there is something that you're going to hear about, some kind of, either you're starting a new business or it's some kind of a career change altogether, because with those two cards coupled together, again, individually they speak of very happy things as well, but, one follows the other. So with the Ace of Cups, it's about your feelings are being really intensified with something that's coming through. You've got, and again, it's new job, new opportunities, new projects. It's also about enhanced psychic power as well, and again, healing. And it also speaks to, can be a gift of money as well. So there's something coming for sure. Although it is followed by the Knight of Pentacles. I guess that one's not all that clear. Knight of Pentacles is a slower moving energy. So that's the Knight of Pentacles. And that follows the Ace of Cups. So you're hearing about this, but it may not be showing up right away. With the Knight of Pentacles, again, that's news message coming through. It's letting you know that it's coming. It's just there might be just a slight delay of some sort that is tying it up. And because the Knight represents somebody who's hardworking and responsible, if we're talking about him as a person or her as a person, it is somebody who is not usually a self-starter, but really gets the job done, knows what they're doing, They may quit one job to go for another job that's got more money. Maybe that's even what the situation is here. But the change is somehow relative to money because it is the Knight of Pentacles. You could even be moving for more work. But either way, you're creating your own success. You're not missing this opportunity. You're embracing that potential. So it's a thought that's turned into action, and it's realizing that dream. It's something that's a continuous cycle of change. When it's a knight, it's some kind of efficient, stable energy. So, but again, it's a slow moving energy, and it's a hardworking energy, but it is about more of that security. But there is still a surprise of some sort that's coming through after a time of 10 of Wands, which is heavy burdens. And not only is it followed with another knight, so this is somebody who likes to take off and not to arrive, likes the journey, and doesn't necessarily like the, just arriving at a destination, because then you have to figure out a new goal to go ahead with. But in speaking, this could be speaking to younger people all around as well here, because there's a lot of knights in this reading. But with the Knight of Cups, this is, again, speaking to somebody who is coming through as a messenger. It is somebody who's usually a protective energy, after a time of solitude, because it's followed up by the Four of Swords, sorry. And again, then there's the King of Cups. So you have another strong energy coming through here. But with the Knight of Cups, in terms of a person, is somebody who is imaginative, could be a real seductress or seducer, male or female, somebody who's got controlled power, but it is somebody that represents a Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. Doesn't have to be, but has the energy or the qualities of, those people. Somebody who could be even a little bit narcissistic, but it is somebody, that can be quite inspiring or is inspired. But it is a messenger coming through that there is some kind of mission that this person is on, yourself, or somebody else is coming through with this mission, and it could even indicate a gift. So again, after a time of hardship with the Ten of Wands, I would say this actually represents more of a gift that's coming through after a time of, Four of Swords, after a time of difficulty and feeling alone and feeling victimized and feeling, it's a Four of Swords also speaks to healing as well, but it is about constructive communication that's needed, and it's about taking that time to be alone, so slowing down and just feeling stuck and paralyzed by fears or some kind of self-doubt. But there it is followed by the King of Cups, and I suspect this is somebody who's maybe coming through to give you advice. So again, the King of Cups is a calm individual. This is somebody who is not so much interested in money, but definitely is a leader, has a leadership quality. Somebody who's really, stable and diplomatic and wise and trustworthy and dependable, responsible. All of that, could represent a father figure. It is somebody that provides guidance, basically, and who's calm in a crisis. So I feel that this is somebody that you're relying on for advice. It could represent yourself, but I really feel it's somebody that's coming through to give you some advice. And whatever advice it is that's come through to assist you to heal, because again, the Four of Swords is about healing. It's also about finding balance, because anything that's twos, fours falls in line with balance. But the Four of Wands is about the happy family. So, whatever advice was given, somehow you were able to see your way through it, and this is a time of celebration with the Four of Wands. So the Four of Wands is that happy family. It's about a blessing that's coming through. It's about a happy event. It's about some kind of celebration, some kind of financial reward that's coming back to you. So this could be a gift of money that's come through to help you. But either way, it's opened up some kind of gateway for you. And, you find that you just find that you're leaving the past behind, any negativity. Again, there's still a period of, this is a card of healing also. So you're still in a period of healing, but temperance is also about being patient with yourself, and patient with the situations. So, maybe there's more to come or more to heal, but you're still told to slow it down even toward the end of April. because the Temperance card is about taking the middle way. It's about being moderate. No heavy risk taking, situations. It's just about, especially if you're just coming out of a period of, feeling insecure and vulnerable. I do feel that the universe here is just trying to still synchronize things up for you, to get things back on board for you. It's about that understanding. It still speaks to self-control, and it's about success. It's also about miracles that have come through for you. And I think that that's part of that miracle is the healing that you've undergone. But it's a combination of forces that are working together to, to help you line up those long distance goals as well. So again, it encompasses a lot of things with the Temperance card. But again, it's followed by the Emperor. And, the Emperor is really somebody who is in control of themselves. And it's also, followed by, so this could be people that are coming through. Again, energies around you or that are influencing you. It could represent something related to, I would say even something of authority anyway. I don't want to say corporation and all of those things because it's not the Hierophant, but I mean, somebody could be a teacher or something too, but it's somebody who's really confident. It's a powerful person, somebody who's really accomplished and ambitious, that's coming through. Could be a combination of these energies as well between these two with the King of Swords and the Emperor. But somebody who's really highly structured and a really controlling kind of person. So it does speak to security with this card as well. So just to be patient, there's healing coming through, but there's also security, and it's a leadership role. Again, it's about being self-disciplined, but it's also about that you have the support of the divine as well with this card. But the Emperor, in terms of feelings, which I'm kind of getting, this is really what's coming through with this one. In terms of feelings, it's about creating order out of chaos. So being your own boss, being fearless, competitive and ambitious, but taking a break. You were taking a break from your feelings because you felt that they were a distraction of some sort. But it's, again, you mastering your emotions, knowing you've got this inner strength that you possess that's helping you to act and lead, harmoniously so that you can build a stronger foundation again. I mean, it could also speak to a domineering person, but I really feel this is more to do with you and your energy. It is about that path to grow and advancement as well. So again, in terms of finances, it would be things starting to resolve and that there's some kind of increases starting to come through here. But it's, again, speaking to you achieving your ambitions or your goals and getting things your way. Self-determination and discipline, that kind of thing. So you've got the King of Swords in there also. And again, the King of Swords speaks to another energy. You got a lot of people that are coming through with this reading. So King of Swords is somebody who's a lawyer or a figure of authority, again, that could be giving you advice. Somebody who's realistic and rational, represents a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy. Again, doesn't have to be specifically those signs, but something with those energies or those qualities. It is somebody who is makes decisions from an integrous part of themselves. They're a mature, authoritative type presence, very strategic kind of person. Could be, it could be related to a government or a legal entity of some sort. But again, I don't really see the Hierophant card, not a lot of things surrounding that. But I just feel it's somebody who's able to solve problems and who's really highly principled. So again, you could be getting some advice on that front from this person. So in terms of the Two of Pentacles, again, is about finding balance, juggling things. You might have a lot that's going on. I guess you can still see that one in the reading there. So the Two of Pentacles is about that, as I said, it's just about being adaptable and multitasker. Somebody who's weighing out the options. You might be working 2 jobs or, turning a hobby into a career, that kind of thing, but working on a lot of projects all at once, trying to find several sources of income here. It is about finding a balance and even a balance with a partnership as well. And it is still a positive omen on all fronts there. So it's, it's a really good fortune card as well, and good news card. And it does speak to, if you're somebody who likes to write, it does, speak to writing as well. So this card's probably not as visible here, but it is the Eight of Pentacles. So it's just about you working hard, being practical throughout the month of April, getting things done. You're still paying attention to details, really disciplined kind of person. You might be enjoying your new learning or your new employment, whatever has sparked your interest. You're working hard for it, is what's happening here. And again, too, with the Knight of Pentacles, which was further up, the Knight of Pentacles is that determined worker, same sort of energy as well. It's about somebody being practical and using their knowledge and dedicated, persevering, somebody who is widening their knowledge base. Money's not a worry with this card. Everything is a good sign in terms of money for the month of April. Even though you're feeling a lot of burden and angst, I don't think it's related so much to the money as it is some kind of emotional hurt or pain or boredom or, stagnancy of some sort. But again, in terms of money, everything is looking pretty good here. Very stable, very, very stable. So again, very last part of the reading was Nine of Wands and the Eight of Swords. So again, with the Knight of Wands, that's just about you being really defensive. You're still able to take action. You're just being really cautious. Especially after a period of healing, it's really hard just to kind of put ourselves out there without being a little defensive, but it's you being prepared to act. So you're able to sort of see your strengths and weaknesses now, and you're able to maintain some boundaries and persist and go forward, and you're keeping your focus on something. Even though you're feeling wounded, you are still developing that inner self-awareness. So you might be a little suspicious of others, but you're still able to persevere. And again, you might be worrying about money and some things along that line, but, you're still trying to better your situation. So you haven't stopped. Your momentum is still going forward. Even if you had a sense of some depression there, it hasn't stopped you. You haven't, you're still plugging away. You're still doing everything you need to do to go forward. Again, Eight of Swords was speaking to, boring job or no job, feeling that you don't have enough or that you're not enough. It's that self-sabotage, vulnerable, victimized sort of feeling restricted. Maybe didn't feel like you had some kind of direction there for a little bit, or you just lost sight of what was important. Sometimes we can create too many boundaries around ourselves that we blockade ourselves as well. You can be restricting yourself to such a degree that you're isolated. Well, we're all isolated right now, but feeling isolated just in terms of your mind and cutting yourself off from people and sort of falling victim to illusions that we create in our head about how bad something really, is not, but we can drum it up to become quite a feeling of being fenced in and trapped by our own scattered ideas and limiting viewpoints. But it's actually followed up with the Queen of Swords. And again, the Queen of Swords is actually somebody, I feel this is an energy that's around you actually, but the Queen of Swords is somebody who's a leader in her own right as well. Generally leads with the heart though. So again, with the Queen of Swords, this is about continuing to go through a difficult situation. Somebody who's really intuitive and creative. If it does represent a person, it'd be a businesswoman or a lawyer or somebody who's, quite in control of a lot of responsibility. But it's somebody who likes total honesty, somebody who's pretty strong-willed, shrewd, direct to the point, pretty lively, intellectual, that kind of thing, pretty upfront. So this is somebody who doesn't really mince words. It's somebody who's might even come across as a little cold, on the far end of that spectrum, but is somebody who's really adaptable, and they actually are very good at debating. And this is somebody who is able to, speak well, who really likes the written word, and also somebody who could even come across as, an excellent manager, that kind of thing. But they're motivators, basically, these, entrepreneurial type spirit, that kind of thing, with a Queen of Swords. So their intuition is so keen and on point that it really leads them through. And again, somehow they're relevant to your reading. I don't know if it's an energy that's coming in around you or if it's you yourself, but it is somebody who really does Tell it like it is. Somebody who's, quite realistic. In terms of the Nine of Pentacles, I mean, maybe they're giving you advice in some way, or maybe this is somebody who's quite independent herself. But with the Nine of Pentacles, again, it doesn't matter if it's male or female energy there. That's just how the energy comes out with the card. But the Nine of Pentacles is, again, about that independence. So I do feel that everything is moving in the right direction. With the Nine, it is clarified. The Nine of Pentacles is clarified by the Strength card. So you're having to be strong about something in regards to being self-reliant, because the Nine of Pentacles is about accomplishment. It is about that entrepreneurial energy. It is about being resourceful and in control of your situation, and financial and material security, and also an inner sense of security. So, but it is saying to be strong, stand in your power, take control back of your life, and manifest what you want with the Magician here, which you've had more than once, and also with the Six of Pentacles. There's that reciprocity. So it's about a mission being completed with the Nine of Pentacles, and again with the Six of Pentacles, again, it still speaks to success. It still speaks to you coming through, a hard time. But again, somebody's being generous with you, or you're being generous with somebody else. It doesn't have to be with money, but it could be with resources or time, energy, that kind of thing. But it's some kind of charity or sharing that's coming through here as well. And you're manifesting that. You're actually ending the note. Everything is being ended for the month of April on you being in your power, being in your personal power. So again, there might be more responsibility that comes with, being more independent and all of those things, but you're also becoming a force to be reckoned with as well. For every hardship that a person endures, they also have the ability to transcend into a higher level of success. And again, whatever success means to you. But you are then at a point where you're able to not only just give of yourself and be a leader for others that might also be challenged, but somehow it also allows you a new sense of freedom when you take on challenges and heal and are able to grow and not allow yourself to remain blocked. So again, that's the end of that reading for, again, that's for Cancer for the month of April 2020. But again, it ended on such a fabulous note with the Magician and taking back control over your life, and you standing in your personal power and with a strong level of independence, the fact is you're empowered on so many levels, and you've got luck as well in the reading. You're at the right place at the right time, and you've got some kind of unexpected surprise coming in the beginning weeks of April, as well as a tremendous amount of healing that's coming through for you. So again, whatever burden you felt, April is going to be the month where you are starting to set yourself free. So hopefully that helps somebody out there, and until May.